Can you tell me what happened?
He was running with my purse, and they came around and grabbed him. Look at them. They're like a bunch of butterflies. They were so adorable with these big bows. They could have been dancers.
When the Powerpuff Girls first arrived on Cartoon Network in 1998, it quickly became one of the channel's most popular shows. Created by animator Craig McCracken while still a student at CalArts, it was a simple concept about three superpowered little girls, Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup. Blossom was the leader, Bubbles was the cute, innocent one, and Buttercup was the tomboy. In every episode, they'd fight crime in the city of Townsville and smash the living daylights out of the bad guys, and very little about the idea changed in its transition from student short film to animated TV series. Even the character designs remained almost identical. In fact, the only difference was a reworking of the show's original title, The Whoop-Ass Girls.
The Whoop-Ass Girls were born.
Scrub out just one little word, and the Powerpuff Girls were born, spawning 6 seasons, heaps of merchandise, and of course, a theatrical movie. Growing up at the height of the show's popularity, I was definitely obsessed with it. Despite the fluffy title, this was one action-packed cartoon, and it always felt like it appealed to everyone. It wasn't just a girls' cartoon, even though the merchandise was largely aimed at that crowd. Not that it stopped me from buying it back then. I mean, who cares if all this stuff was coated in pink? The Powerpuff Girls didn't mess around. Every episode had some giant monster or psychotic villain for the girls to deal with. Even in the intro, you can see blood spraying through the air. These girls were cool. As for the movie, it was the first ever film based on a Cartoon Network show to be released on the big screen, and it arrived in the UK on October 18th, 2002. But if people feel that it underperformed in the US, then it barely saw any notice over here, opening all the way down at number 11 at the box office and grossing just a tiny £92,000. It's always possible there might be a hole in the records though, as the film did see some British promotion. Like here you can just barely see a poster in this old home video footage of an Odeon cinema at the time. Looks like this girl was excited about it. She should have stolen that poster. Though, that said, it looks like Justice League had bigger posters in the cinema at the time, and that wasn't even a movie. So I never knew about the movie's cinema release, but when I saw the VHS in my local Blockbuster one evening in the early 2000s, I just had to rent it. The one I have now is this snazzy collector's edition that comes with a magazine, and you'd think it would just be full of coloring pages or something, but it's actually pretty detailed, featuring interviews with the cast and the show's creator Craig McCracken, doing an uncanny impersonation of myself as a 5-year-old. In fact, the magazine even mentions the show's origins as the Whoop-Ass Girls. How bizarre. You can check out this link here if you want to read it yourself. Anyway, that's enough history, so let's power up the tape. Since it's Cartoon Network, I bet this tape is full of kid-friendly trailers.
The pirates are out to get you. Piracy funds organised crime and will destroy our film and video industry.
So, yeah, just picture the scene here. You switch off the lights, tuck yourself in at night to watch a nice Powerpuff Girls tape, and you have this hideous demon staring into your soul. That pretty much sums up this infamous anti-piracy PIF, produced by the Federation Against Copyright Theft, or FACT for short.
Piracy costs jobs and will destroy our music and publishing industry.
I imagine most people are familiar with the gem that came after this, but this one was always a childhood terror for me. It would always come up so abruptly, like everything's dark and then bang, scary evil man burning videos.
Piracy funds terrorism and will destroy our development and your future enjoyment.
Who is this guy anyway? What's his obsession with torching VHS tapes with a red-hot branding iron? If he does this to inanimate objects, just imagine what he'd do to you. I want to know his backstory. He'd be a great movie villain.
Don't touch the hot stuff. Cool is copyright. Copyright is a matter of fact.
Of course, now that I'm older, you can only see this as just another over-the-top anti-piracy threat. The word hotline is covered in flames. The narrator literally says that pirates are out to get you. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they intended for this to scare kids more than having any effect on adults, because after seeing it, I never wanted to go near a pirated tape ever again, in case Mr. Nutcase here stabbed his branding iron through my face.
Don't let the pirates burn a hole in your pocket.
What a nightmare. Surely this can't get any more bizarre.
We are the Vbirds. That's who we are.
I guess it can.
Vbirds, you have been found guilty
case you're confused here, these are the Vbirds, a virtual band created by Cartoon Network UK in 2002.
The blink sister, wow. Out of status, here we go now. Planet V, sisters on a mission, where we from? Boom, tell it like it, drop the bomb.
Yes, that's right. Cartoon Network once tried to form its own band.
Come on and dance with me, dance for me, do what we do.
With the Gorillas being such a success at the time, I guess the channel thought they could grab a piece of the music pie for themselves, and they used these short cartoons to promote the brand in between the ad breaks. But on this particular tape, they're all slammed together into one.
You will be taken away from your families and entombed within a dance machine.
Well, that's a slightly more original punishment than making them do community service.
Come on and dance with me, dance for me, do what we do.
I can actually remember watching this at the time and thinking it was a fairly neat idea, the girls getting trapped in a video game and all. Anything involving video games usually had a little bit of boy appeal, and it certainly looks inspired by all those dance mat games you'd see back then on the PlayStation 2. In fact, one of the Vbird songs, Virtuality, was actually featured in the game Dancing Stage Fever, with the band also being sponsored by Dancing Stage Megamix in 2003. The band even appeared for an interview on the hit kids show SMTV Live.
What would you say to people who compare you to other non-human acts who've had chart success? I'm thinking about people like the Tweenies or maybe even the Teletubbies.
I can't believe that. I'm sorry, we're not like anyone else on this planet.
No, we're more real than a lot of human bands anyway. At least we make our own music.
But we've got more in common with bands like Mystique or Destiny's Child.
Yeah, or the Sugar Babes.
However, despite all those endorsements, the Vbirds failed to achieve much success in the music charts. Their single only debuted at number 21 in early 2003, which turned out to be the band's first and last release. In fact, it's strange that they're on this VHS when you consider that fellow virtual band Gorillaz were supposed to compose a song for the Powerpuff Girls movie, but due to scheduling conflicts, it never happened. Maybe the Vbirds should have stepped in for them. In the end, the band only ever released 3 songs throughout their entire existence, with the Vbirds vanishing after a short-lived spin-off on Cartoon Network called Vbirds Perfect, which is actually a piece of lost media. Apparently, kids would get the chance to vote on which song they wanted the band to perform, and they could dance along to the music in a similar rhythm game style.
Every day you'll get the chance to vote for one of our tracks to dance to. Then you'll be able to follow our routines in your own living room. Perfect.
Watching this now, it actually does ring a bell for me. I think it used to be on early in the morning right before Star Wars Clone Wars, so take that for what it's worth.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2, 2, 3, 4, and 3, 2, 3, 4, and do what we do.
But now it's all just a memory, and what an ironic fate for the Vbirds, forever trapped on a VHS tape they can never escape from.
Papa, can I go play for a while?
Just 5 minutes. It's getting kind of late.
I promise. Polar bear's word of honor.
And a seal's word of honor too. Thank you.
Huh?
I have words about this trailer. Not the film, but the trailer, because it was on absolutely every VHS tape around this time.
Somewhere in the North Pole,
This is for you. Thanks.
something very special is happening.
You ready to sail away?
It was so common, repeated so painstakingly often, that literally every word is just burned into my skull.
Polar bears and seals can't be friends.
It will work out, no matter what you say. Off to a country where we can always be friends. You and me.
In fact, I could just dub the whole thing for you right now. Papa, can I go play for a while? Just 5 minutes, it's getting kinda late. I promise. Polar bear's word of honor, and a seal's word of honor too. Thank you. And now you know my pain. That's all I have to say really, because I've seen this too many times to count. Please don't make me do a VHS review on it.
The Little Polar Bear.
Ta-da!
Last up, a trailer for the home video release of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, which was just coming out on the shiny new DVD format. Ooh, I might try that someday.
Something is stalking the students at Hogwarts.
The Chamber of Secrets has indeed been opened.
Terrible things are about to happen.
It's funny actually, because this was another tape I rented from Blockbuster, and they give you a Harry Potter Coca-Cola cup just as a freebie. I always used to drink Crusher out of it.
I want some Crusher. A glass of Crusher.
Don't ask.
Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
So sorry, dozed off. What have I missed?
So, Powerpuff Girls, right? Nope. Dexters Laboratory. Yes, just for fun, they included a bonus short cartoon that was shown in cinemas before the movie. Amusing, really, as Dexter lost the last review vote, and I'm talking about him first. In fact, most of the animation here was done by the show's creator, Genndy Tartakovsky, even though he'd left the production of the show by this point in time. Anyway, this is a really weird cartoon. Dexter wakes up to find he has the chickenpox, and despite being one of the world's great boy geniuses, he somehow needs to get his stupid sister Dee Dee to explain it all for him.
A group of evil contaminated chickens escaped from jail and started to break into children's houses where they pecked away, leaving huge, itchy pimples. And if you scratch them, you'll turn into an evil contaminated chicken.
It's just kind of nightmarish and gross, and no matter what Dexter does to stop himself from scratching, he just can't help himself.
Got the scratch!
Ugh, it kind of makes my skin crawl, like I want to start clawing at my own flesh.
Dexter, is that you? Yeah, a scratch.
Maybe this was meant to be some kind of cautionary tale for kids? Don't scratch or you'll turn into a chicken? Which is still a better moral than some of the other nonsense on this tape. Okay, it's movie time, and first of all, I love this Cartoon Network logo they made for their theatrical releases. It's kind of inspired the way all the toons sit down to watch something on the big screen. Kind of a shame it was only used for this one film. Oh, and it turns out it isn't called the Powerpuff Girls movie at all. It's just the Powerpuff Girls. The posters are all lies. But the movie begins, of course, in the city of Townsville, which actually seems to be doing quite well compared to your average town these days.
Fear not, fair viewers, for there is a man of science, a forward-thinking man who looks back.
Still, the low crime rate has Professor Utonium concerned, and he uses his scientific knowledge to create 3 superpowered girls from the most incredible ingredients. But wait, if you're a fan of the show, you might have heard all this before, right? Well, that's because this movie is actually an origin story, even though the origin of the girls is fairly well established in the intro of the show itself.
Hi! What's your name?
Professor Utonium.
Hello, Professor Utonium. It's very nice to meet you.
This is something of a bone of contention with fans whether they should have gone down this route, since long-time viewers would have been very familiar with this story already, and might have appreciated something more original. But then again, it's possible they might not have wanted to alienate first-time moviegoers, and decided to tell their story from the beginning.
What are your names?
Well, you made us, so shouldn't you also name us?
So we have the 3 girls, Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup.
I think I'll call you Blossom. Well, aren't you all cute and bubbly? That's it. You'll be my little Bubbles.
They all have their unique traits, but I think on the whole my favourite is Buttercup.
Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup, because it also begins with a B.
These jaded tomboy characters are always quite fun, even though as a little kid, I actually thought she was a boy. In fact, they even bring that up in the magazine too. She sounds like a boy, not a Powerpuff Girl. How strange. And on the flip side, I also used to think that Double D from Ed, Edd and Eddy was a girl. Must be a kid thing.
Birthday! It's your birthday! I should get gifts!
This is the kind of film that moves along at a really quick pace. It only takes a few minutes for the girls to bond with the professor and become a family. I do like that explanation for how the windows are formed. And before we know it, the girls are off to school already.
I'm your teacher, Miss Keen, and this is where kids come to learn.
It's all very wholesome stuff, and the endearing look of the show is faithfully recreated here. Even the animation style isn't any different. It's still all limited animation, which, if you don't know, is where most of the characters stay still, with perhaps only their mouths or a single body part moving. I'd imagine this is a holdover from the show's early days under Hanna-Barbera.
Now I'm it, and all you got to do to play is tag someone else, and they're it.
Awesome, I'm it! What do I do? What do I do? What do I do?
The girls settle in well, but things quickly spiral out of control when they learn how to play tag. This is the first time we get to see the powers of the girls turned up to 11, and it's a fun little chase sequence featuring much of the show's trademark action. The soundtrack really shines here too. It's very bouncy and engaging. Definitely a track worth listening to, but the girls cause so much damage with their powers that the mayor isn't happy, and the town quickly turns against them.
I'm sorry to say there won't be
It's actually nice to see some superheroes suffering realistic consequences here. I'm almost expecting the girls to get sued in some incredible style lawsuit.
That's him, boys! He's in cahoots with the evil pickle cop killers!
The professor ends up taking the blame for the girls, and he gets carted off to the slammer, leaving the girls to think that he's abandoned them, and they have to walk all the way home in the pouring rain.
Maybe he hates us.
This is where the movie takes on a bit of a darker tone, especially once the Gangrene Gang corner them in an alleyway.
Ah, what's the matter? Did somebody get washed?
Whoa, this is the most threatening these guys have ever looked. In the show, they were just a complete joke. This is a fairly common complaint about the movie, that it was too dark and should have been a bit more cheerful. Apparently, it was even something of a debate during the film's production, where they started off with the intention of making a darker film, only for director Craig McCracken to express some years later that he wished it had been less serious.
In hindsight, maybe I wish it was a little sillier, a little lighter, a little more, not so heavy the whole time.
Speaking personally, I never minded the darker tone even as a kid. Being a movie, you'd expect the stakes to be higher. In fact, that's what I wanted from a Powerpuff Girls movie in the first place. A bigger, more ambitious story. And besides, it's not like the show didn't have its dark episodes as well, with all kinds of spooky villains and demented situations, which I always enjoyed.
I just stood there waving goodbye, and they raced off. Just stood there waving goodbye.
To be honest, when you look at those episodes, this movie seems kind of tame by comparison. Back to the story, where the girls get saved from the gang by the coolest looking dark figure ever to wear a paper bag on his head.
I, Jojo, am a monster.
You're not a monster. Monsters are evil. Yeah, and anybody who'd save us like you did is so not evil.
This is Mojo Jojo, the professor's pet lab monkey, who had his brain enlarged in the experiment that created the girls, which I always thought was a pretty freaky image.
I am in the same boat. This brain is full of brilliant ideas. But will anyone listen? No.
As the nemesis of the girls in the show, it's only right for Mojo to be the main villain here, even though it actually contradicts one of the show's early episodes, Mr. Mojo's Rising, which, oddly, is also an origin story.
I was once a vengeful mad genius bent on destroying mankind. But now I'm a vengeful mad genius bent on destroying mankind with superpowers!
Only in that episode, the girls and Mojo never seemed aware of each other's origins despite their meeting here. So is the movie non-canon, or the episode? Debate that one, fans. Mojo is a great bad guy though, and I love how he's lit in this scene, where you can only see his eyes as he tries to get the girls on his side.
What amazing powers!
No, they're terrible!
I bet everyone hates them.
Yeah.
And they hate you too.
Yes.
Sadly, they're so innocent that they believe Mojo is a harmless outcast just like them, and they decide to help him in his efforts to construct a Make the Town a Better Place machine. Maybe find a better name while you're at it, Mojo. You do have to love some of his expressions though.
At last, our greatest work is complete! Oops.
What's wrong?
Well, there is one last teeny tiny itsy bitsy thing we still need.
After the girls steal some Chemical X for him, the movie keeps speeding along from this point, and Mojo rewards them by taking the girls to the zoo, where he snaps some great shots of all the monkeys. I'm sure that won't become important later on. But when the professor finally gets out of jail, the girls want to show him all the great things they've done for the town, which has now been overrun by a menagerie of Mojo's mutant manic monkeys. Saying that took a few takes.
Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup! I couldn't have done it without ya!
The girls are horrified, but fortunately the professor is there to comfort them.
I don't know who to believe. I thought you were good.
Wow, talk about getting punched right in the heart. The girls don't just skip town, they skip the whole planet and hide out on a giant space rock.
That big, fat, dumb jerk! He duped us! He planned it all along and we fell for it! And now, everybody hates us even more!
This is the only scene where the movie really stops to take a breath. There's barely any music and they just let the girls interact with each other, which is a refreshing change of pace.
Maybe if if someone hadn't pushed Bubbles into the school. Oh, look, she speaks. We weren't allowed to use our powers, and you know it. Oh, look, it's Miss Goody Goody.
It's both kind of sad and funny at the same time.
What do we do? Nothing!
Still, with the town getting destroyed and the professor in trouble, the girls decide to go back and save the day. It's another big action sequence as they smash up the apes in all kinds of fun ways, and I have to say, this moment with Buttercup is kind of adorable.
Buttercup! You're a genius! I am?
Finally, they confront Mojo, who goes full King Kong and turns himself into a giant monkey.
You're actually trying to stop me? That's so cute.
This is the join me moment, isn't it?
Girls, join me.
Yep, thought so. And hey, look, it's all the people who made the movie. How meta.
We'd never join you!
Obviously, the girls turn Mojo down, and they beat the living snot out of him, dropping him straight onto an antidote that the professor just so happened to finish making. Very convenient.
Oh, girls, I'm so sorry for doubting you. You are good, perfect little girls, and I love you.
We love you too!
With Mojo defeated, the day is saved, and the town finally embraces the Powerpuff Girls.
Maybe sometime we could, call you to save the day or whatever.
The mayor convinces them to fight crime full time, and the setup of the show is finally complete, with the ending being reminiscent of a classic episode.
And so, for the very first time, the day is saved, thanks to the Powerpuff Girls.
Cue awesome cover of the theme song. So that was the Powerpuff Girls movie, and I think you can say it definitely has its pros and cons. On the one hand, it's certainly entertaining. There's plenty of action, a solid soundtrack, and Mojo Jojo is a treat as always. I'm just a sucker for these bad guys. But on the other hand, I kind of feel like the movie is a bit too fast for its own good. Half the time, I wish it would slow down and give us more time to spend in those dramatic moments, like when the girls are up on that space rock, or empathizing with Mojo. Those are the best scenes for me, and it's a shame they don't go on for longer. So for me, I don't really have an issue with the darker tone as much as I do the pacing. It's almost kind of over before it's begun. In fact, creator Craig McCracken stated that the crew was somewhat torn between making an action movie and a more subtle character piece.
The products had become so girly, and all of a sudden jewelry kits started coming out and makeup kits, and everything was pink, and I was like, no, this is not what this is. This is about 3 kids who fight crime and beat up giant monsters and bad guys. And I saw the movie as a chance to reclaim the mantle of the Powerpuff Girls in a weird way. Just like, no, we're gonna make an action adventure movie, and it's gonna be powerful like you've never seen it before.
But in the end, it feels like they were trying to make the Whoop-Ass Girls more than the Powerpuff Girls, and what you're left with is a slightly odd clash of styles, where sometimes the movie is dark, sometimes it's fluffy, and it doesn't quite commit to either one. Maybe this is one you just have to judge on your own merits. Whichever way you slice it, it's a weirder experiment than anything made with Chemical X. Thanks for watching this video, and look out for more VHS tapes coming soon. But wait, there's more! Okay, this is a very unscripted announcement because I'm here to reveal that Back to the Past is now available on Patreon. You see, YouTube isn't exactly friendly to me for making videos about all this copyrighted content, so it makes monetizing the channel kind of impossible, but for just £2 a month, you can support the channel on Patreon. You'll get access to every new video a week early, your name at the end of every episode, and you can even take part in exclusive Patreon votes where you decide what the next VHS review will be. It's not an obligation, but if you want to support the channel, you can. I'd really appreciate it, because it means I won't ever have to talk about Raid Shadow Legends in any of these videos. Have a nice day and check out the Patreon. Did you enjoy this video? Let me know what you liked in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, follow the channel on Twitter, support me on Patreon for early access to new episodes, and remember you can buy all kinds of old stuff from the official Back to the Past eBay store. See you next time.